Good morning and welcome to another virtual service at Unity on the River. I'm Rev Ogun Holder and so glad you've taken the time to watch our service today. Let us begin with a centering prayer. So if you are comfortable, I simply invite you to gently close the eyes at this moment, connect with the breath, connect with the heart. And for a moment, simply check in to see how you feel right now. And whatever feeling that you feel right now, simply notice it, accept it, and allow yourself to breathe into it and take that into your heart. Depending on when you are watching this particular service, this weekend has been a weekend of turmoil around our country. A weekend of sorrow and anguish and anger and sadness. And so we take that all in. We take that all in. And in the Buddhist practice of Tonglen, we take that in, we feel it, and we exhale and breathe love into the world. We who are spiritual seekers, we have faith. Then in so doing that, we begin to transmute, transform, change the energy that ripples through our nation. So we breathe in all that we would wish to see different, and we breathe out harmony, we breathe out love. We ground ourselves in the thoughts, in the words, and in the breath of love and kindness. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen and amen. So we have a great service today. We're continuing our series on When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chödrön. This is part 3. If perchance you've missed part 1 or 2, you can always go back to our YouTube channel and watch them. As always, great music with our music director, Meg Grain, Lynn Taylor, got the boys in the shed, Brian and Keith. And in fact, I'm gonna turn it over to them right now to get us going with some music. Take it away, guys.
I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. Love like an ocean in my soul. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I got joy like a fountain. Ready? Here we go. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. Joy like a fountain, I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. One more. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. Take it. I got peace like a river in my soul.
We're unmuted. Oh, we're unmuted. Hallelujah. Wow, peace like a river. So we come to this next thought in our hearts of how can I be used by God? Use me, God. God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God was the sun, God is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth or the stars or all of creation. God is creator, all in all, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here as you, for God is the love that heals all creation, and God is creator and makes all things new. And God needs us to shine its light as me and as you, so use me. Oh God, and I'll stand as you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. God needs us to shine its light. God needs us to shine its light. God needs us to shine its light as me and as you. So use me, oh God, and I'll stand as you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Thank you, Meg. Thank you, Lynn. And we know that as we shine that light, it is a divine light that emanates from within. So let us connect with that divine center, that divine core, that essence of who we are, the light of who we are, through a time of meditation. So I invite you, wherever you are, however you are, sit comfortably, lie comfortably, and prepare yourself for going into the silence. And we'll let Meg and Len take us in with a song. I am so blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
So wherever you are right now, continue to allow yourself to relax. If you are comfortable, gently close the eyes. And allow the body to simply become effortless as you sit, as you lie. Allow the body to relax in this moment. Take a moment to notice the body. Notice any points of discomfort. Perhaps notice the points of contact with the floor or the couch or bed beneath you. Simply notice. Without judgment or without wishing anything were different. Simply notice the body. If you can, begin to notice it with an increasingly open heart of gratitude for this vessel that carries the essence of who you are. As you continue to breathe, let your attention now come to that breath, the life-sustaining breath that flows in and out. No need to change its tempo or change its depth right now. Just simply notice it. Notice the expansion of the body with the inhale and the contraction with the exhale. Notice the points of stillness in the process. And should you find yourselves distracted by a thought, simply notice that distraction, and again, without judgment, without wishing it hadn't happened, simply notice it and return your awareness to the flow of breath. Just breathe. 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 And hold in your consciousness an energy of love and kindness towards yourself. Say to yourself, may I be happy. May I be safe. May I be peaceful, healthy, and at ease. May I give and receive appreciation today. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be peaceful, healthy, and at ease. May I give and receive appreciation today. And now we hold that intention for the world, for all those in pain, in anguish, for all those walking through illness, for those we love, for those for whom it is a challenge to love. May you be happy. May you be safe. May you be peaceful, healthy, and at ease. May you give and receive appreciation today. Let us hold that space of love and kindness in our hearts for ourselves and for all others for a few moments in the silence. We know that when we are at peace, we see the world differently. We see the world as opportunities to make peace, to be peace. So hold that love and kindness mantra and feeling in your hearts today, tomorrow, every day. And so it is. So it is.
can it please the Lord? But you don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Well, there was a time when you let me know what's really going on below, and now you never show that to me, do you? And remember when I moved in you, the Holy Ghost was moving too, and every breath we drew was hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Well, maybe there's a God above, but all I ever learned from love was how to shoot at someone who outdrew you. And it's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not somebody who's seen the light. It's a call and it's a broken hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I did my best, it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I've told the truth, I did not come to fool you. And even though it all went wrong, I'll stand before the Lord of Song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Wow, absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. In chapter 6 of When Things Fall Apart, we read this story. Once there was a young warrior. Her teacher told her that she had to do battle with fear. She didn't want to do that. It seemed too aggressive. It was scary. It seemed unfriendly. But the teacher said she had to do it and gave her the instructions for the battle. The day of the battle arrived. The student warrior stood on one side and fear on the other. The warrior was feeling very small, and fear was looking big and wrathful. They both had their weapons. The young warrior roused herself and went toward fear, prostrated 3 times, and asked, "May I have permission to go into battle with you?" Fear said, "Thank you for showing me so much respect that you ask permission." Then the young warrior said, "How can I defeat you?" Fear replied, "My weapons are that I talk fast and I get very close to your face. Then you get completely unnerved and you do whatever I say. If you don't do what I tell you, I have no power. You can listen to me and you can have respect for me. You can even be convinced by me. But if you don't do what I say, I have no power." And in that way, the student warrior learned how to defeat fear. As we continue our journey through this text by Pema Chodron, the Buddhist nun, When Things Fall Apart, we are learning how to befriend fear. We learn why it's important to befriend fear. And as the story illustrates, if we befriend it, we won't act from it. This is not about not feeling fear or not defeating fear. So often, especially in New Thought traditions like Unity, there's this idea that we're not supposed to feel fear, and that if we do, we're feeling in some way. No, fear is natural. We read about this in the book. And what fear does, it can hijack us and make us choose to do things, say things, be ways we wouldn't normally be. Pema Chodron writes, what we're talking about here is getting to know fear, becoming familiar with fear, looking it right in the eye, not as a way to solve problems, but as a complete undoing of old ways of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and thinking. The truth is that when we really begin to do this, we're going to be continually humbled. I shared this quote last week, and to remind you that to be humble is really to keep our ego in check. When I say keep our ego in check, I mean the part of the ego that wants to act out from fear, the part of the ego that wants to tell us that being vulnerable is too scary a thing, so let's not be vulnerable. To love open-heartedly is too scary because we might get hurt, so let's not love. That part of the ego that needs to be kept in check, and I would say transformed, transmuted through the power of love. But first, we've got to befriend it so we don't act from it. When we act from fear, it causes us to do harm to ourselves and then to others. When we are in fear, it leads us to separate ourselves from other. And separation leads to anger with the other. And anger with the other leads to violence against the other. This weekend, cities are burning because of an act of violence that we witnessed earlier, where yet again a Black man is killed by a white police officer. What we saw again and again and again is simply the manifestation of 400 years of othering. And that othering is called racism. I don't know if you knew this, but last year, 2019, marked 400 years since slavery began in America. And in that 400 years, that racism, the othering, that has told us that one group of people is less valuable, less worthy, less deserved than another group of people, has become systemic and institutionalized in our country. Not just our country, many countries. But we see it here played out in such horrendous ways because it's grounded and rooted in fear, and we've not individually and as a nation befriended that fear, that 400-year-old fear that is still making its way through policies, procedures, all sorts of things, law enforcement. And when things like this happen, the 400 years of pent-up aggression and anger spills out. Martin Luther King Jr. said, rioting is the voice of the unheard. And that's what we're seeing. I will always prefer peaceful protest, and I will always advocate for peaceful protest. And I understand what is happening in the cities around our nation today. And I understand what will happen again in our nation unless we collectively begin to really make peace with that fear within us. The fear that we've been taught to absorb when we perhaps see someone of a different nationality or ethnicity or color. Human beings are capable of so much love and so much fear. When will we begin to make this journey to transmute that fear, to befriend it, so that, like in that story of that young warrior, we don't do what it says. We don't do what it says. Fortunately, in the book, Pema outlines a process for how we can begin and continue to befriend fear. It's really a two-part process, actually. Mindfulness and refraining. Mindfulness and refraining. The mindfulness kind of has two parts. So 2 parts within the first part. I'm going to lose track of the math here. So maybe it's a 4-part process. I don't know. But here we go. So mindfulness, it begins on the cushion with meditating. And the point of meditation, she says, is not to try to get rid of our thoughts, but to see the nature of our thoughts. The true nature. What is the belief under these thoughts that we have that maybe consciously we don't hold on to, but unconsciously, subconsciously, they're there and they're still rooted in fear. So that's the point of meditation. We can only come to it when we are in the stillness and can truly listen to our thoughts. And then when we're not on the cushion and we're walking in this world, what I like to call waking mindfulness, are we observing every thought, every action, every word? Because when we do that, we begin to see our desires and our aggression and our jealousy and our ignorance. That's what she writes in the book, mindfulness. And then this is the part where it's really difficult for us. The second part is refraining. And she defines refraining as the practice of not immediately filling up space just because there's a gap. The practice of not immediately filling up space just because there's a gap. When things get interrupted and disrupted in our lives and we're left in this place of like, you know, a twilight zone of groundlessness that's so uncomfortable, we want to fill it right away. We want to do something. We want to change something. Because again, we're uncomfortable with that space between things falling apart and coming together, falling apart, coming together. I mentioned this last week. That's life. Things falling apart, coming together, and we've got to make space for that. But so uncomfortable for us. So we rush to fill it with something, some things. And this is a lot of times where addiction plays a part. Because we need the thing that will make us feel good. And then we get hooked on that. When we refrain, when we slow down, she writes that it allows us to see that there's something between the arising of the craving or the aggression or the loneliness, whatever it might be, and whatever action we take as a result. There's something in between there. We don't have to act right away. She says we experience it as restlessness and edginess. I'm sure a lot of you in the last 10, 11, 12 weeks, however long it's been of this pandemic that has caused us to bring our daily lives in many ways to a halt, have felt restless. You felt edgy and you've wanted to do something different. You've wanted, and for many of us, that felt like, let's go back to what we were doing before. We can't wait to get back there. And you may say to yourself, he keeps talking about this a lot. And I feel it's important to remind us that much of the languaging that we hear on the news and other places speaks about getting back to the economy being open, getting back to being able to eat at restaurants, getting back. No. We're moving forward into a new way of being. Not look back, but look forward. And we do it with patience. And that's where the refraining comes in. I mentioned this at our Zoom hospitality after service last week when folks asked about the church reopening, and myself, the board, and many of you realized, no, this is not a timely thing for us to do. And for no other reason that we see other churches that have rushed into it. Many people got sick, some died, and now those churches are closing again. Refraining is a way of making friends with ourselves at the most profound level possible. Let me say that again, straight from the book. Refraining is a way of making friends with ourselves at the most profound level possible. Why is that? Because when we refrain, we get to feel, we get to see, we get to understand what is it within us that is craving the thing that we're craving. And then when we can know that, we can decide, do we want to give in to that craving? Or do we want to release it and be at peace? When we practice mindfulness and refraining, this is how we befriend fear. This is how when fear comes up within us, as it always will, because we're human, we slowly develop those muscles that allow us to slow down and not act on the fear. And when we stop doing harm to ourselves, we begin to experience well-being of body, well-being of speech, and well-being of mind. Let me read what she says in the book here about well-being of body. This is perhaps my favorite part. And if you got the book and you're following along, this is in chapter 6, but this is probably one of my most favorite parts of the book. She says, well-being of the body is like a mountain. A lot happens on a mountain. It hails, the winds come up, it rains and snows. The sun gets very hot, clouds cross over, animals shit and piss on the mountain. So do people. People leave their trash, other people clean it up. Many things come and go on this mountain, but it just sits there. When we've seen ourselves completely, there's a stillness of body that is like a mountain. We no longer get jumpy and have to scratch our noses, pull our ears, or punch somebody, or go running from the room, or drink ourselves into oblivion. A thoroughly good relationship with ourselves results in being still. Which doesn't mean we don't run and jump and dance about. It means there's no compulsiveness. We don't overwork. We don't overeat, oversmoke, overseduce. We begin to stop causing harm. Well-being of body. She talks about well-being of speech, in which our speech is straightforward and disciplined. We don't start blurting out words just because no one else is talking and we're nervous. We don't chatter away like magpies and crows. We've heard it all. We've been insulted. We've been praised. We know what it is to be in situations where everyone is angry, where everyone is peaceful. Our speech is tamed, and when we speak it, it communicates. We don't waste the gift of speech in expressing our neurosis. And well-being of mind. She says, well-being of mind is like a mountain lake without ripples. When the lake has no ripples, everything in the lake can be seen. When the water is all churned up, nothing can be seen. The still lake without ripples is an image of our minds at ease. so full of unlimited friendliness. Not causing harm requires staying awake. And part of being awake is slowing down enough to notice what we say and what we do. This coronavirus has caused the external world to slow down in so many ways, but has our internal world slowed down any? Have we slowed our thoughts? Have we even just slowed our breath? Have we slowed our anxieties? Have we slowed down enough to release our attachments? This is the way of life that we seek, to stay awake, to slow down, and to notice. That's how we begin to make the space to befriend the fear so we don't act from it. This is a process that she says is the liberation that naturally arises when we are completely here in this moment, without anxiety about imperfection. So this is my invitation to you this week. Be in the process of befriending your fears. Be mindful on and off the cushion. Refrain, slow down, notice. Notice the thoughts that arise. Notice what we might have normally said in the situation. Notice our restlessness. And breathe. Allow the space for those things to turn up and then settle like that mountain lake and become still. Well-being of mind, well-being of speech, and well-being of body. May we all be well this week and every week. Namaste. So let's just take a moment to simply just breathe in all that we have just heard. And make a note of any points of discomfort or resistance with what you just heard, and simply let it be there. And perhaps give yourself time later to explore it. If you're watching this service on Sunday morning at our usual 10 o'clock time, want to remind you that you're all invited to join us for virtual hospitality at 11 a.m. All the information is on our website, unityontheriver.org. Just a heads up, I will not be there. This week begins Spiritual Education and Enrichment Week at Unity of Gaithersburg, my former church. And I'm going to be teaching, and they're having a special Ask the Minister, a live broadcast Ask the Minister at 11 a.m. Myself, Reverend Cheryl Myers from Unity of Gaithersburg, Reverend Kelly Isla will be part of that. If you want to sneak in and watch a little bit of that, that's going to be on Unity of Gaithersburg's YouTube page, so you can just search that there. Some things coming up soon. Gina Jeunesse is going to be teaching an Empathy and Compassion in These Challenging Times class. Empathy and Compassion in These Challenging Times. It's based on nonviolent communication techniques, and you'll learn how to incorporate compassionate strategies to help navigate these times. And I think it aligns itself perfectly with what we've been learning in When Things Fall Apart. The class starts on June 15th. You have to register by June 10th. Head over to unityontheriver.org/classes for more information and to register. And spirit groups. You guys remember we started spirit groups not too long before the pandemic forced us to not meet at the church anymore or meet in each other's homes. So we're going to take spirit groups virtual to Zoom. Our next unit will be on Discover the Power Within You. That absolutely powerful classic unity text by Eric Butterworth. So think about if you'd like to host a Zoom group, a Zoom spirit group. We're working on the application and adapting the training for Zoom. So just think about it. We have a web page up for more information, unityontheriver.org/spirit groups, I think, or you just click on the spirit groups tab. And the application will be posted soon. But if you want more information about spirit groups, you can get it there. Thank you again for your Pettingill House donations. There's some new drop-off dates posted on the website and also the list of what folks need. Thank you again for your regular monetary donations that you give every week that allow us to continue doing what we are doing. Your generosity continues to impress. You can go to unityontheriver.org/donate, or if you'd like to use like Google Pay or Apple Pay, or simply just text easily from your phone. If you've not set it up yet, text the word give, that's G-I-V-E, give, to 833-702-4337. 833-702-4337. You go through a one-time setup process, and then you can just simply text the amount you want to donate to us so that we can continue to provide this virtual spiritual container for our transformation. I think that's all I got for announcements right now. And I'm going to turn it back over to the boys in the shed, Brian and Keith. Take it away, guys.
Hope everyone's doing well today.
Happy Sunday.
I can see clearly now. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the rain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. One more. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
Thank you, guys. Awesome job. One last reminder, our prayer chaplains are still here for you. If you have a prayer request, please go to our website, click on the prayer request tab, and you can fill out your prayer request a prayer chaplain call. You can call our prayer line, 978-834-7830, extension 211, and we can pick up your prayers there as well. We are here with you. We are here for you. And we know the truth that the peace that we wish to see experienced in this world for all of us, every single one of us, begins with us. So let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin
On me.
And let us hold together. The light of God surrounds us.
We are the light of God.
of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
We are the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
We
We
are
are
the power of God.
God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
We are the presence of God.
Wherever we are, God is, and all is well, and we are richly blessed.
Love you all.
Thank you for joining us.